jungle. His mentality. If the lion is the king of the jungle, how can he be the king of the jungle? If he's not the biggest, the elephant is probably one of the biggest. He can't be the fastest because that's a cheetah. He can't be the smartest. So he's not the biggest, the fastest, or the smartest. So how does a lion become the king of the jungle? His mentality.
From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on, folks? What's going on? How y'all doing? How's it going, Tammy?
It's going great. How are you?
Pretty good. You're
going to need to remove your picture there. All right, let me give him some help here, you guys. Hold on. Okay, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. All right, you have let me see if I could do this for you. Just go ahead and do your thing.
All right, cool. Welcome to the conversation, folks. As we walk through this technical difficulty here real quick and see what's going on. Tell you what, let's just jump to a commercial real quick and we'll be right back, folks. All right, folks. StreamYard just won't allow me to be great today. Does it take care of it, Tammy, or are you still working on it? Are you there, Tammy?
I don't think I see her.
1 second. All right, Nick, give me 1 second, all right?
No, you good, brother. Take your time. I'm good.
Okay.
Hey, just switch the screen. We're just gonna rock with it like that. We can't mess around with stream y'all like this. Just put it on the sides where they can actually see.
You go ahead and do what you're doing, Trent. I'm going to try to get it moved for you.
All right, what's going on, folks? Actually, welcome to the conversation. Sorry for technical difficulties here. StreamYard's actually acting crazy, but we're gonna work this out, work through this. All right. Well, tonight we're talking about intimacy versus sex. And actually, that came about.
I got it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
got
it.
it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Tammy.
All right.
You're
cool.
welcome.
All right, cool.
Looking all radiant as ever. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Nick. So what we're doing tonight is talking about intimacy versus sex. And actually, it came up through a topic on last week's conversation when I was posed with the question from a couple of ladies that I had on last weekend from a conversation I had with Tammy offline about intimacy and speaking on intimacy on her show. So I was posed a couple of questions and I said that I would bring it back. And the questions kind of pushed me back on my heels. They got me to thinking about why do women have this type of mindset when it comes down to anything dealing with sex. Today, in today's society, it's come about to where ladies have to feel like they got to barter something to get what they want. I'm trying to figure out where that's going.
Did you say why do women have this mindset?
Yeah, they do. They really do. That's exactly what I said.
Some women, right?
Here we go.
You know exactly what I mean. Some women do. What they have to, it's almost as if trying to figure it out. Like, why do you have to barter something to get something from me? So that's when I started thinking about what's the difference between intimacy and sex. There is a difference. A lot of folks don't believe that, but we're gonna go all the way in on that tonight. What's your thoughts on that, Tammy? I actually posed a question online, so I still didn't get that answer.
What was your question?
Intimacy versus sex. Like what's your thoughts on the intimacy versus sex? Waiting. You're on time clock. Tammy, are you there? Hello. You guys are froze up. Can you hear me, Tammy? Nick, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
All right, you go ahead, Nick. I think Tammy's freezing up, but go ahead.
Oh, there she is now. I think when it comes to intimacy, there is a difference. And I'm not going to be long, but I'm going to be strong. Intimacy, in my opinion, is to be deeply known, to be deeply accepted, to be deeply appreciated, to be deeply accepted, to be known, it's a deep thing, right? Intimacy, right? There's a mental component, spiritual component, emotional component, physical component as well. People tend to just harp on the physical component of it, right? I think that intimacy requires like mindfulness, vulnerability, trust, transparency, openness, and courage. It takes courage to be able to get deep within yourself, to be able to then communicate that to someone else, right? Sex is just sex, right? Like now with intimacy, you can be intimate with someone without having sex, right? But also too, you can also have sex without intimacy, and sex is just sex. Like, that doesn't mean that doesn't have any emotional ties to it and things like that. Some people use sex as a means to mask, whatever traumas and pains that they're going through for fear of intimacy, in a sense.
Exactly. So here's the thing. Like I said, what got me to thinking about that. The difference between intimacy and sex. Nowadays, and I know with you being young, you being a younger guy, this whole thing about the $40 going around social media, like all the guy needs is $40. Damn, that's how much it costs? It's just gonna take $40 to $40. That's it.
Wow.
The $40, leave $40 on a dresser. That's kind of cheap, don't you think? That kind of picture I don't want. That type of coochie I don't want. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, where did this prostitute mindset come into play when it comes down to dating, when it comes down to relationships? It's a prostitute's mindset. Where did that come from? Because these kids are doing it online. So I'm asking you, Nick, what I mean,
I think that when people, I will say it starts somehow, either it started somewhere in childhood, right? Somewhere along the way, somewhere it started there, whether there was a fear of abandonment, whether there was people, there was molestation, rape, or anything, right? And from I've talked to a lot of victims who were violated in that way, and one of the things that I often hear is, this violates my trust. This violates me as a human being, right? Now, with that in mind, when that is unlearned, people kind of go through life functioning with the best way that they know how, right?
Exactly.
So it may be hard for me to open up, not me per se, but it may be hard for that person to open up because of deep down wounds that they have been dealing with since childhood, and the traumas that they have and things like that. And I'm with you on the prostitute mindset. I want to be very careful about like what I'm saying, because a lot of times when we see the prostitute mindset, our minds automatically goes into a place of judgment. But
Exactly.
if we open our hearts with compassion and understand why they are who they are, then even that is intimacy in its truest
And
sense.
this is where I was trying to go on Tammy's show. We got some feedback on you, one of you guys. This is where I tried to go on Tammy's show when we talked about intimacy, and she was asking about the different things in the game and whatnot. And we got some feedback coming. All right, so that's where I wanted to go. I wanted to address the traumas. I wanted to address the traumas and the mindset of this. Like, why is it? Why is it so comfortable? Why folks get so comfortable with this $40 mindset, this border mindset? Give me $40, I'll give you sex. Or give me $1,200 or whatever it is. That's still cheap. $1,200 is still cheap to me. You're playing yourself at that point. So where did this mindset come from? It had to come from some type of trauma. And that trauma has to always be addressed. Trauma, let's just be honest. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she's actually a social worker. And I said, why are they so afraid of speaking trauma? No one wants to really see that mirror, see themselves in that mirror. But at some point, when you want to get to the level of intimacy, you have to address the trauma first. You have to. You cannot go around that. The only end game to get into intimacy is addressing your traumas and opening up to that person. That's the only way that two people can share intimacy together in a long-lasting relationship, is they both accept one another's faults. They have to accept themselves first before. I have to accept myself before I can accept you. Plain and simple. So I'm trying to figure out, where is the trauma? Where is the trauma? Why is $40 okay? Why is the barter system okay when it comes down to the body parts?
I think, Trent, when it comes, those are some good points. I think when it comes to, I go back to with the trauma, and I go back to there's some way where someone was violated. And I go back there because when you violate someone's trust, you violate the safety. So people, and when they don't unlearn that, people tend to gravitate to things that's familiar to them, right? So if a lot of times not being able to trust people, that's familiar to them, right? People going through like not feeling safe, because of something that happened when they was younger, that's familiar to people, right? And so I think it's really I think, and I agree with you in the sense that, we have to be able to look at our wounds and be able to go there. Now, some people just aren't ready to go there, and that's okay. What I will actually,
I have to disagree with that. It's not okay, because You shouldn't be in a dating pool. You shouldn't be entertaining anyone. If you haven't addressed your issues, you might want to sit on the sidelines and deal with all that stuff first.
Right. Now, what I will also say too is some people may be, and I say this in the most respectful way. Some people can be.
Hey, this is a conversation, man. Go ahead and let it fly.
Some people can be completely.
Nick, let it fly. Nick, excuse me a second. Let it fly, brother. This is a conversation. Nobody's gonna cut you off. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. Some people are just completely oblivious to their own trauma, right? So a lot of times that just comes with awareness, right? So I tend to think that when people, now I can look at it one or two ways. When people are aware of their own traumas and things like that, then you can, put action toward it and a strategy towards it and things like that. Now, there are some people who may be aware of it, but choose to deny it. And I think that's the point that you're talking about, the deny, like you're aware of it, but then you choose to deny it. And I think when you choose to deny, when you choose to deny being like your experience in telling your story, because it takes courage to tell your story. It takes courage to be able to say,
naked.
Right.
It takes a ton of courage to be completely naked. And,
right.
And here's the crazy part.
I need to jump in for just a second. I didn't hear much of what Nick talked about or anything that was said. Okay. But you guys, it sounds like we're making this just about the woman with the $40 or whatever the cost is. The woman is not doing this alone. Like, there's a man there to give the $40. So he is just as much, if we're calling it like it is, the spade is, they're the same kind of spade.
That's why come on, Tammy. That's why I want you to come on.
We cannot just say that and trauma, there's no perfect person. Like, no matter who you get, you are going to help them. You're going to have to help them deal with some of their trauma. So it's not about the trauma. It's if we show up, because there's not a lot of men in my perception that can truly handle that nakedness from that woman. Like,
I disagree with that.
I didn't say that there's not any. I said there is quite a few that is not able. There's not a lot of nicks. No, seriously, like, there's not a lot of men. Women don't feel safe showing up with all of their shit. They don't feel safe. So if you want to talk about why they feel like, because they've been so broken, so put down, so shut down, and I'm not saying that is an excuse,
right?
But men need to take responsibility for how they have contributed to the breakdown of the woman.
We'll get to that, Tammy. We'll get to that.
Same as the women.
Hey, Tammy, listen. Let me explain something to you real quick. We'll get that. We'll get to that. It's called the conversation for a reason, my sister. It's called the conversation for a reason. Okay.
Well, let's have this conversation. Let's get real.
All right, we're gonna get real.
I'm telling you, somebody is spending that $40.
All right, so here's the thing, Mark. Hey, what up, Mark? Mark, it's a good friend, Mark, and my cousin, Mark out of Houston. What's going on, guys? All right, Mark. My friend Mark. He says that trauma is often hidden in order to be able to deal with it. Not all men and women have dealt with a particular type of trauma.
Most of them.
There's a vast amount of different issues that come attached to pay for play. I agree, Mark. Pay for play. That's where I'm going with this. That's why I've been knowing this guy over 40 years. He knows exactly where I'm going with this. That's the concept. That's the mindset for everyone today.
But true intimacy, I won't even say true. Intimacy brings out trauma sometimes that you didn't even know you had.
I agree.
That's the purpose of intimacy, is to break you, to open you. But are you strong enough to unscrew the jar and put the right stuff back in and not add to that trauma? That's what intimacy does.
But Trent, it goes back to what I was saying too, that people have different ways about how they mask their trauma, right? Some people will use, because not a lot of people have healthy coping mechanism when it comes to dealing with pain, right? Or whatever that it is. Some people may use, drugs to deal with that pain. Some people may use working out as an outlet. People have an outlet, right? And going back to what you were saying, some people use sex and some people use that pay for play as a way to mask being intimate, right? Like that's just what it is. And I think that, and Tammy, what I was saying earlier about being intimate, kind of my working definition of it was to be deeply known, to be deeply appreciated, to be deeply understood, to be deeply compassionate, basically intimacy and mindfulness, vulnerability, safety, trust, like all of those, openness, like all of that works in conjunction with one another. And courage. We have to have the courage to tell our story.
Let's get down to the get down. So the reason why I was so passionate about this tonight, getting here, doing this tonight, last Sunday, on the latter part of the conversation show, a couple of things was posed to me, questions, and it kind of took me off my heels because this is my third week back. It was my third week back. So Ty from out of Atlanta posed a couple of questions. So I wanted to know, where does this thought process come from? And she threw out, Trent, it ain't tricking if you got it. I knew exactly what she meant, where she was going.
What did she say again?
It ain't tricking if you got it.
What is it? What is it?
I got it. Say again now.
If it's not tricking, what is it? Did she give a counter to it? What is
No,
it?
I stopped it. I stopped it because like I told her, next Sunday, I'm coming back and I'm going to coach it. I'm going to definitely coach it. I'm going to bring them there. So, but here's the point. My whole point is, why do women, and the average man does this, he has a ton of responsibility to deal with this. A ton of responsibility, whether it be $40, $1,200, whatever it is. Why are you borrowing this money to get this coochie? Why are you doing that?
Trauma.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
It's the same as the
women. The world go round.
Hey.
Exactly. But the whole point is that there's a clear distinction between sex and intimacy. A lot of folks think that during sex you can actually get to emotions. The emotions. You cannot get to emotions during sex. Sex is a thing. You cannot get to emotions during sex. Most of the times, if it's done properly, if you're courting properly, most of the times, the love is actually being made during the conversation, during the courting process. That's when the love is made. The sex is just a technicality. The physical, me putting my hands on you, it's just a technicality. Because I've already touched you. I've touched your inner parts already, mentally. That's the most exciting part to it.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think one of the barriers that I often hear so much in our community, men and women, is calling vulnerability weakness, right? That when I don't think people really understand. And I say this in our community because I know a lot of people who've had this indoctrination, right?
Exactly. So,
go ahead.
So I really want to get to this trauma because actually it looks like the social worker I was speaking with early in the week, my good friend Kim, is actually on. And actually, to be honest with you, she agreed with me with women are afraid to address their traumas. They're afraid to.
I think people in general.
Yeah.
Because
mostly women. But mostly women.
But how do you know that? Because you don't know all women. That I can't say that. You don't know all women. You can only speak for the ones that Romero. Right. Speak for those.
Hey, Tammy, listen, if you're gonna be calling his name, you need to call his name right.
I don't even know how to announce it, but whatever. So you can't say most because we don't know all women. You can only speak for the women that you have encountered, and even then, if you've not had a sit down conversation and came to an understanding, you don't know. You're only using what you know and your perspective of it. Is there an issue? Absolutely. Do we know sex more than we know intimacy? Yes, but that's because we don't know ourselves. Intimacy starts within.
That's true.
You don't know intimacy if you don't know love. If your heart hasn't been broken a time or two, you don't, and that's by someone that you may or may not have had the intimacy with. Because again, if you don't know yourself, if you don't love yourself, and if you've not had a love-making moment with yourself, and I'm not talking about sex. Sex is just the physical part of it.
Yep.
Sex connects you physically.
It's a technicality. Sex is the technicality. Like I said, love already starts. But a conversation with Trent, the love has started already.
Right.
I'm making love right now.
You see this guy.
You know
but Tammy raised a good point. I was writing some notes down, and like when it comes to no lie, one of the questions I wrote was when it comes to being intimate with someone is asking them, when was the first time you encountered heartbreak and how did that feel? Like when was the first time that you had heartbreak and how did that feel? And getting to or what makes you feel safe and unsafe? What makes you feel loved and unloved? Knowing what those things are and how someone receives that information and interprets that information and can says a lot about that individual and their willingness and courage to go there within themselves in order to speak that to you.
Tammy, I like man. I like this.
I told you we're from the same tribe, so we got the same vibe.
Good stuff.
So this will answer it, and this is how I see this. And I'm going to take it biblically for just a minute. The Proverbs talk about above all else, guard your heart. Intimacy gives you the space, the ability, the will to let down that guard.
Yeah.
To let that guard down. Because a man can give you them $40. He can give you his credit card and do whatever. But if that same man doesn't give you his heart, you have nothing. That woman can give you the coochie, but if you don't have her heart, you have nothing.
That quote,
conversation over.
No, it's not. Hey, it's conversation
is over.
The conversation's not over till the conversation.
You fumbled.
Knock
I
it
told
off.
you I was bringing my A game.
Knock it off.
Conversation over. Y'all, it's been a good show.
The conversation cannot end until the conversation was said at. Come on now. Let's knock that off. But here we go. My whole point is this. This is my whole point. How many years have I been speaking about getting completely naked? How many years have I talked about the sweat dry? How many years? Matter of fact,
tell us how many years? How many years?
About 10 years. About 10, 15 years.
How many naked women? And I'm not talking about.
Hey, I'm not on trial here, Tammy. Knock it off.
In those 10 years.
I'm not on trial here. Knock it off.
Oh, you fumbling? You fumbled the ball again? You fumbling in the conversation?
What's the question, Tammy? Go ahead. What's the question? Go ahead.
You've been talking about this for 10 years. How many hearts have been broken at the hands of you within those 10 years? Let's talk intimacy.
It's been several of them.
Is he stumbling?
It's been several of them, but
pick a side, my brother.
Here's the thing.
Wonder why they use it.
Like I spoke on the conversation last week. Like I told Shan when she was on the conversation, that's where the blessings come into play. That's where I cannot possibly apologize to all of these women. Here's the thing. Hold on a second, Tammy. Here's the thing. This is my apology. This platform is my apology. All those books are sold are my apology.
That's your apology, but that may not be what gives them peace.
Hey, that's what happens when you deal with an average guy that he can't apologize.
I will say this. I will say yes, I have broke some hearts in my time. Now, I've also taken that liberty to not only have changed behavior, but I've also apologized for my part as well too. That's just me being. That's just me being a kind individual. What I had to learn, and it took me some experience. It took me some experience to say that to say what I'm about to say. A lot of times we go waiting for the apology, but a lot of times but our healing does not. But our healing does not stop. We have because there comes a point in time that person could drop dead tomorrow, right? Listen, and the healing is still up to us to get better with.
That's why both parties involved had to take responsibility.
Absolutely,
shared responsibility. There have to be shared responsibility. Even with all the women that I've dealt with, some of that responsibility has to fall on them for not vetting me properly.
Right.
I take responsibility as well. But some of that responsibility
for not what now? Take responsibility for not what?
But for not vetting me properly.
Okay.
For not vetting me properly. I mean, damn, I'm good, but I'm not that good to get all that.
But
I mean,
you said yourself that there's no way that those women could have known because you played the game so well. So you can apologize, and I agree. We all should take responsibility for our own healing.
Like I said last week, my apology came in the form of changed behavior along with these platforms that I've built personally. So that's what, and all the books that I've written on it. That's what my hey, hopefully they picked up a book. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And that's why I say, like, when it comes to my heart feels for people who really, when it comes to let's just call it what it is. Some people don't want intimacy. Some people just want sex. Some people just want to feel good. Some people just want that's what they want. And if that's what they want, that's okay for them. May not be for me, but that's okay for them, right?
They should make it clear. Make it, if that's what you are,
if that's what you are, that's what you want.
Hey, that's why I'm here. That's what I'm here for. I don't want that. And let's do what we do.
I couldn't actually speak at that time when I was acting my Romello days. I couldn't speak because I was walking through my trauma. I was walking through my trauma, dealing with that through my trauma. I became Big Will. I was walking through my trauma. So I couldn't tell them. I was not going to tell them that because that was my end goal. The coochie was my end goal.
Right.
But it's up to you. It's your responsibility.
Do you think that you wouldn't have gotten it if you had told them?
Say that again.
Do you think if you had told them you wouldn't have not been able to go sexual with them? What percentage? If you had said, I'm not here for that, what percentage of
being honest with them, I probably got a little more. So I should go back and rethink that. I should.
So why did you not tell them?
I was still walking through my trauma. I was still hiding from the world. I was still hiding from myself.
So that same grace, because that was your story, that was your platform. Women, I'm just because that's been the pinpoint. Women or people in general, they deserve that same grace. That they are working through their trauma. So the $40 could be their way of working through their trauma. Because one day when you will wake up, one day we all wake up, whether we get up or not.
Hey, before we take a break, I want to acknowledge these folks here, man. Mark and Kimberly's watching out of Houston. That's a husband and wife team. Kimberly's a good friend of mine. Mark's my cousin out in Houston. Kimberly actually is a social worker out there, and she talked about the trauma. We talked about the trauma a little bit over the last couple of days. And, I was really curious about why won't we address trauma? Like, people are really afraid for folks to see them. People are really afraid for people to see them. So
y'all think we make it safe for people? Again, we're such a judgmental world. We judge others, but we don't truly judge ourselves the way that we judge others.
I think that people, it does go to a fear of judgment. And this is what and it goes back to people revert back to familiar patterns and things like that. Because once someone has seen betrayal, they've seen violation of trust, they've seen that, and it starts out young, but people tend to, if people haven't really unlearned that and found different models to unlearn that, people function off what they know. So when people are functioning off of that, like they're in their mind, they're not going to be thinking. They're going to be thinking that you're going to treat me the exact same way as the next person. And no matter, this is my last point. No matter how safe of an environment that you create for somebody, no matter how safe, when they still have that, when it's thick as Heinz, there is nothing there comes a point where you have to be like, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, well, let me respond to these folks, Nick. So Kimberly says that this is not just a one thing. I totally agree, Kimberly. I totally agree with that. Right. But someone has to call everyone out.
Well, women know women, so let women call women out, and you stick with Romello.
Yeah. So I'm called. So my whole thing is, Tammy, this is not Tuesday. Okay? Today is Sunday. Check your calendar. Today is Sunday. This is Trent Day. This is Trent's day. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I totally agree with that. That's why I addressed the men about a couple hours before when I was telling them. Actually, I said it in a promo. Listen, I said, pretty much guys are to blame for this. Guys are to blame.
What promo did I see? What promo did I miss that?
The one that you were under, running your mouth.
You said guys were the. Did you say that?
I addressed the men. I said, gentlemen. I addressed the guys. Nick, can you find that promo for me and read it out loud? Because you don't believe me. The one that you comment under.
I'm not. I'm using on my.
I'll find it. Go ahead. Y'all do what you thought. I'll find it.
Go ahead and find it.
I'll find it. Go ahead, but keep it moving. I'll find it.
All right.
Keep the conversation rolling.
Yeah. So here's let me finish talking to these folks. Then you find that, and then we can shut you up from there, Tammy. Just you go ahead and read that one out. But we'll want to acknowledge Shan and want to acknowledge Shan from Atlanta. Mark, of course, my buddy. Who else is in here? Okay, yeah, they going in here. They got their whole conversation going on by themselves.
For some reason,
that is something that is needed because there are a lot of people who are functioning out here but there's not a lot of
Nick, hold on one sec. They're asking questions. So Shan's asking, did I vet my own self? What do you mean by that, Shan? Did I vet my own self properly?
Shan. Come on in, Shan. Come on in with
now
me.
She's talking about Tammy. Bring it. Represent.
Come on, Shan. I need you.
I need to remind Shan that this is the conversation. This is the conversation. There's only one name attached to the conversation, Brent.
No, but really, see, you guys. I'm talking about guys, not all of you, but you want to overlook because truly it is not all women, but for the most part, women desire to be in a committed, deep, fulfilling, intimate relationship.
Right.
We will step up to the game more times than not.
Shout out to Mark.
Hold on now, but we run into a Romello, and then that is another scar. So y'all got to take some responsibility for where the hearts of women are and why we feel. And I'm going to say why we feel because I've been that woman a time or two in my life. Why we feel and like the money wasn't my thing, but I know I've showed up in some ways where that man did not deserve me. Right. It was my trauma. It was his thing. But now that this girl is healed, baby, they don't even say hello.
So
it's like that energy.
It's all called shared responsibility. Shared responsibility.
You got to take responsibility for your own space.
Exactly. It's called.
But you got to heal to do that.
I think when it comes
sharing section over here, Tammy, with Shan, she's.
I think when it comes to, like I said, any kind of like when we like I said, just understanding intimacy in a sense, like. I will say this. I think that there are a lot. If you ask most people that are out here, they will tell you that they want an intimate relationship. Now, where it curves is how they see it, how they view it, and how they see it. And again, culture dictates it as well too, because culture says that intimate. I think there's a very romanticized view of what intimacy is, right? Yeah. You have all these romantic books out here, you have music out here, you have just TV of what it is, but there aren't a lot of people who are sharing their stories, right? And when it comes to intimacy and things like that, like I said, it comes to how you share your story, and then I think you will get to a place when you've connected with yourself, you've given yourself enough grace, you've given yourself enough compassion, you've given yourself all of those things that when you see someone else going through the same thing, you give them that grace as well too.
Exactly. Tammy, have you found that post?
He is searching for it.
Let me see. I hate to get off of this, and you didn't share it to my page for whatever reason. I don't. So hold on. I'm gonna have to go another route here. Just go ahead and do your thing.
Okay, yeah. So what happens when there's no intimacy involved? What happens is there is no connection. Even though it's physical, there is no connection.
There's a connection. I think there's a connection.
There's a physical, there's a sexual connection.
Exactly. For the average person is a physical connection, which is nothing.
Right. But I tend to think of it, like I said in one of the conversations, I think of a holistic view, right? You have the mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical, right? When it's not, okay, they all are more synonymous in one way. They are more synonymous in one way than one, because each represents the same kind of universal mindfulness, truth, all of them, okay, the mental intimacy has mindfulness, trust, safety, all that. The emotional side have it, and but when it comes to the physical side, see, the thing is because the physical side, people think that they can just jerk off on. And people tend to think that, and they value that and say, this is what it means for me to be intimate in this moment.
Well, here we go. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes. Shan says when there's no intimacy, it becomes transactional. That's what I'm talking about. There's a ton of folks walking around blind. It becomes transactional.
I don't know if I agree with that. And here's the reason why.
But even if it is, that transactional is it's an exchange. So
I'm not excited.
At the end of the day, not that this is for me, but if that's what if you're playing that game, then why not pay for the game?
But it goes back to what I said.
So you agree with the barter system? That's what you're saying? Do you agree with the barter system? That's what you're saying, Tammy?
No, not for me. But because I don't care to play the game. But if someone knows that they're in that kind of twist, then, and you say it's transactional, what does transactional mean? Isn't that two-sided? Isn't that?
It's giving and receiving.
Right. So it's not up to me to choose what someone wants to give or receive for that.
I think when it
well, she's answering the question. She said that it's a right and an exchange. It's a right exchange.
Is that Shan saying that?
Yeah, she said it doesn't mean just money for sex. It doesn't mean just money for sex.
Well, first off, hi Shan. I
think Nick got a little crush here. I think Nick got a little crush up in here. Go ahead.
I think the thing when it comes to an exchange is that let's be clear. Everything in life comes with a cost. Well, let's just when it comes to intimacy, comes with a cost. Love comes with a cost. Let's be clear about what the cost is, right? Now, when it comes to being transactional, now that's not my thing, but what I'm also say too, if two people are consenting to do whatever it is that they want to do, right, and they're okay with that, that's them, right? Not everybody sees sex as this intimate as maybe we view it, right? Not everybody.
Mark just brought up a great point. He brought up a great point. Mark says that there's a connection, not a land wire connection, more of a weak Wi-Fi signal.
Woo!
That's the meat and potatoes. That's the meat and potatoes we're talking about. A lot of folks cannot get to that inner being. They cannot connect because the source is weak. Because the true core to this themselves are weak. That's what we get. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes. That's why we're not connected.
Whatever happens, that's why we're not like attracts like. Like there's something. So again, if and I think I found the post that you're talking about. It starts off.
Can you read it for me, Tammy? Thank you so much.
Is this the one that starts off, gentlemen getting physical? Okay, so gentlemen getting physical with her won't lead her where she needs to be. The souls will not connect, nor will they communicate from sexual activity. I don't have my glasses on, you guys. This is really hard. So lacking intimacy will leave her something. I don't know what you put here. Lack of intimacy will leave a black hole in her after the breakup going forward into her next relationship. She will become more physically involved, and that will end quickly, feeling more disconnected than ever before. Gosh, okay. After experiencing a man of intimacy.
Go ahead.
Casting the cycle to continue on. So I asked before the start of the conversation with Trent Podcast. So you're just asking that question. So I mean,
exactly. So pretty much what I'm saying is a lot of gentlemen have to take responsibility for this.
Right.
A ton of gentlemen have to take responsibility for this.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not placing the blame all on women. It's a shared responsibility.
Right. Because I can speak.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Because as a man, I'm gonna tell you what we're taught as a man, or as not even men. I'm gonna tell you what we're taught as teenagers. We're taught as teenagers by not only peer pressure from people that may be in school, but your uncles or who are older people may say that your body count is what matters and what indoctrinates you into manhood. A lot of men aren't taught true intimacy and things like that, especially with us at a teenager. And I can speak from a direct experience from this. When I was a teenager, I didn't give a damn about who, let me just say this. I had no feelings involved when it comes to the women I was screwing off with when I was a teenager, right? Now, as I got older and I realized that a lot of this came from some unhealthy teachings that was passed down to me, it was then that I was able to look back and take responsibility for myself and go back and apologize to most of the women. I want to say it was last summer. Most of the women who I young girls at the time, dealt with at that time, because I can understand how a man, not only do they get it from childhood, but I also can get it. I can also understand on the road and in the journey, if they haven't unlearned that. I also understand how you can play a role in that as well too. Now, I just find it for me to be very commendable to apologize. This is who I am. But I also know that there are some people who aren't like that, and some people just going on autopilot, because people, at the end of the day, we all function off what we know.
Exactly. And the whole point to actually add to that, there's a ton of folks out here, even the married ones, even the older ones, they're playing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
They're playing Russian roulette. I used to be that guy. The reason I can speak on that, because I used to be that guy.
Yeah.
Playing serious Russian roulette across the country, abroad, playing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
Got them safe. But that's because I've got to myself. I learned myself. I learned to love myself. And when I refrained from having intercourse, when I took that 3 years off from doing the Pokemon, I was good. I made better decisions. When I refrained 3 years without sex, 3 years, I made better decisions.
Yeah.
Going forward. I cannot, folks cannot tell me that good decisions are made if you're constantly running in and out of Mary, Jane, Latasha, all these other folks. You can't make good decisions with that, man.
Right.
It'll never happen. I made horrible decisions.
Right.
Horrible decisions.
Right.
So when you actually slow up, find yourself, love yourself, everything will work out fine.
Brother
What's the song said? So we would agree that sexual healing is not that. The song says sexual. Isn't that a song called "Sexual Healing"?
Yeah, by Marvin Gaye.
So it's definitely, and I think that's another thing. People have, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, used that as a form of healing. Whether we want to like it, or whether we understand that or want to admit that or not, that there are people, and probably all of us at some point in life, have did that, used it as to fulfill a need for intimacy, a need for connection, a need to be seemingly valued. If that's all I can get for right now, and it did what it needed to do for that moment. But in most cases, I'll say your term, after the sweat dries or after a day or two,
I'm gonna start charging for that, Tammy. I'm gonna start charging the very next time you use that.
But here's the reason why I say that. It goes back to Tammy's point about when it comes to, and I do have strategies around how to get, things like, but like also too, like when it comes to, wanting to feel good and stuff like that. So I kind of equate it to, if you tear an ACL, right? You tear your ACL, like you just can't put a Band-Aid on it, like a torn ACL, and expect to keep going on with your life. No, there is surgical repair that is needed, to repair that ACL so you can get back to being a healthy, functioning individual, right? So the same thing with our trauma, right? We look for the Band-Aid solutions, but we look for the Band-Aid solutions to make us feel good, but we really don't get to the root of the matter. And as long as you're not getting to the root of the matter and you're not willing to address, confront, and own the root of the matter, you're just going to keep putting a Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid.
And the only way to get to the root of the matter is going inward. You have to go inward.
Telling the truth.
You have to deal with yourself. You have to first you have to get the truth out of yourself.
Right.
You have to get the truth out of yourself and deal with yourself first.
Right.
You have to, I mean, for years, I wasn't giving myself truth. That's why I was dealing with all these women, these different women. I was running from my trauma.
And see, and the same with women. As a man, you could say that, but the same with women. That's how some women choose to deal with their truth. That's just how some people. I don't think it's a man or woman. That's how some people have to deal with their truth.
And I'm speaking to the audience at this point. You know what's so funny? Once I started dealing with myself, I started winning. Once I started dealing with myself, I started winning. I'm talking about seriously winning.
What's define winning? What do you mean winning in what area of life?
Winning in everything in life. Everything just started coming naturally to me.
So that goes back to making the better decisions.
Correct.
I think
it had to start with me.
Yeah, I think, and I can agree with that because, Brother Trent, I was celibate for a long time.
Yeah, I heard about that. Hey.
There's actually a show out there about that.
Yeah.
Years and years ago.
Hold on a second. I heard about that 7-year stint.
Yeah,
you're not here by mistake. I brought you here for a reason.
So I think throughout that journey, I learned much like you did. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about getting clear about what it is that makes a healthy sex life, and intimacy is at the top. When I mean to say number one, intimacy is number one. And there's other things as well too, but like throughout that process, to your point about when we take time out and start kind of slowing up our life some and looking at our patterns and looking at the things that we're, and looking at our patterns, right? And if there are familiar patterns and things like that, and it's leading to unhealthy, outcomes, and we have to look at ourselves. When I started looking at myself and saying that, I keep going through the same, outcome. What is it about me? And it took me a while to get to that place and figuring it out. But one thing I can say now as a 32-year-old man, decision making is everything. And having a healthy mindset about what it is and what it is that makes me feel connected.
Absolutely. Hold on a sec, nigga. We'll come back. We'll run a commercial real quick. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning into Conversations with Trent. We will be right back with more conversation after these commercial breaks.
Check out the creative work of the author Trent Williams of www.taylorkennymedia.com. Chapter of the Delta gives us a peek at his life-changing events. And if that's not enough, Trent tells you more about his brothers and his life through memoirs in his book, The Four Horsemen. His blogs and daily stimulating quotes are published in his book, Life's Little Addiction. And when you have a need of some human coaching of life and relationships, take a look at Conversations with Trent, Volume 1 and 2, and Conversations with Trent, Limited Edition. You will find his works available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all online book retailers.
Bluff City Leadership is leading and helping couples build a healthy marriage. Book your free 30-minute consultation at 901-431-3071 or at bluffcityleadership.com.
Welcome back to Conversations with Trent. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're online and want to be a part of tonight's topic, you can do that by dialing 347-324-5327. Press the number 1 to get into the queue so that your voice can be added to tonight's conversation. Now, let's get back to the show.
You're back.
Okay. Good. Appreciate you, Tammy. Thank you so much. You was missed last week because I was losing my mind, hitting all kind of buttons. So
yeah, you seem to be doing a lot better this week. So kudos.
Yeah, because you're here. You're here. I got my sister with me. So
I mean, with moving
the
stuff in and out.
I'll go ahead. And I'll admit it right now. This is gonna be the last time I admit it. So that's gonna be it. The last time. Don't push it out of me again. I need you around me. I need you around me. I'm surrounded by great women who actually make me greater. I'm nothing without it. I appreciate you. I really do.
You're welcome. All right.
So
you guys, you somebody, I think Nick, somebody said something about, or maybe we all did in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But I think it's just a natural tendency for people to seek information that validates them, no matter how deceptive that validation is. But people are already in such trauma and such pain until that, again, they seek the information that's going to confirm their beliefs or validate them in some way. That sounds sick because we do that to kind of protect our hearts.
Right.
Period. And it's not until you say, okay, I'm not showing up. This area of my life is not productive. And we don't want to go in and deal with those.
What I wanted to do with tonight's conversation was just to show people how to get back to themselves and to walk back to themselves so that they could actually be great for someone else.
Yeah.
When people enter their life, that's my whole goal. And I think I'm going to do a part 2 and bring you back with that, Nick, where we constantly walk these folks through their traumas and helping them out. Because I'll be quite honest with you. I've been knowing Tammy a ton of years. I was still dealing with my trauma as I was actually encouraging thousands of folks. Mm-hmm. People were booking me across the country, all abroad. I was still dealing with my traumas.
Isn't that the beauty of transformation, though, is that you never really get there. Like you grow there. You never really get to a point where you're all done.
So I was actually, and that's the reason why I'm so comfortable with speaking on this platform, because I was still a complete mess. Romello still hadn't left my life.
Yeah.
Romello had to take it up over so much to where I was all in Jamaica with it, all in the Bahamas with it.
Yeah.
Putting up, acting a fool. 10 minutes later, I'm going on stage speaking to all these people.
Yeah.
After dealing with 2-3 women. You know, so you have to take responsibility for your own actions, man. And that's the only way people will be able to see your light. That's the only way people will be able to see it. That's why L's able to see my light.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? That's why people are able to see my light. Because I've owned up to it. This is what it is.
Right.
This is it.
Right.
I've owned up to it.
Trent, you make and I heard you speak about how, because I also think too, we know what, when it comes to what it's not, right? And we can talk about what is not and what it is, but also, whereas like you use your platform, you wrote books. Wow, somebody asked me, can I discuss narcissism? I will get to that point in just a minute.
Wait, who asked you? First of all, who asked you that?
Norman. I just saw it in here. Can you discuss narcissism? I will get to that point. Let me write that down because I don't want to forget it.
Has somebody from your side? Does somebody from your side ask that?
I'm thinking something. I don't know. Y'all, I'm not a social worker.
That's a word that narcissism word is a word that's become very popular, and people get branded for that for many different reasons. But I think we're all have a bit of narcissistic in us.
We really do. I
really do.
I have a little bit. I thought that was very interesting because
I think when it comes to just for me, I will say how I got back to getting in tune with me. I journaled, right? I journaled around what like getting in tune with me and getting in tune with my fears, getting in tune with my traumas, getting in tune with, and writing it out helped me, because writing it out gave me then the courage to then be able, and confidence to be able to speak, who I am, to other people. And Brene Brown, I love her books. I have like 3 of her books here at home here. And I want to say one of her books, it was Daring Greatly, I want to say. Very good book. But she talks about how, I think it's this book. She talks about how there's courage and vulnerability. Showing up as you, 1000% as you, is courage in itself. It's bravery in itself. The bravest thing that you can do is being able to speak who you are with no conviction. This is who I am. I'm leaving it all on the table. Exactly. And if you accept me, that's cool. If you don't, it's cool. But this is who I am.
That's exactly how do you get. That's exactly how do you get to the finish line of life. Accepting who you are and showing the world who you are, and you're not afraid of it. That's why I could actually, before I have to share this story real quick. Before I decided to relaunch the conversation, I had a conversation with Tammy, and I had a conversation with my private nurse. And I wasn't trying to hear nothing Tammy talking about coming back out, because I was very superficial at one point. I was afraid of folks seeing my paralyzed hand, my arm. I was, how is it going to work? I mean, how these people going to view me and all this other stuff. One thing Tammy did that I could really appreciate her. She was like, "Nah, nigga," and that's exactly how she said it. Tammy is a cusser, even though she says she's a cusser. So she's like, "Nah, nigga."
When it's appropriate, yes, I am.
You gonna get out. You gonna get out and you gonna do this. It's gonna be a camera. So I had to be worked into that. I had to be walked into that. I had to walk into that, because Paul Romello was still with me. He was still there. I love and appreciate him because everything that he's given me. But at some point, Romello had to go sit down somewhere, because Romello became detrimental to me at this point. Very detrimental. But we have to understand, man. We have to understand. We have to go within to discover ourselves before you can give anyone intimacy.
It's one thing that does not change across the board with our platform, is that you have to take responsibility for who you are, where you are, how you are, and all of that. No, and that's hard to do, because many of us are in places that had nothing to do with us. Many emotionally, we are where we are mostly because of what we were taught, what we saw when we were growing up. We overlook the importance of raising children emotionally healthy, and being appropriate with the information that we give them. There's so much that happens in that young person's mind that if it's not tuned in, tapped on, turned on, and all that, it comes with us. Absolutely. It comes with us into our life experiences, and so much. So until Nick, you brought up a good point about reading. I say go further than that. If you never publish it, write your own story, write your own book, pen to paper, not on a computer. Write your own story.
Absolutely.
Write your own story and go back.
I do want to get back to that point that someone asked me about narcissism. I want to be very careful about this, because to Tammy's point, I feel like narcissism is the new buzzword, right? Yeah. Narcissism runs deep, first and foremost. And it is and generally speaking, it is an inflated sense of self-importance, generally speaking, right? Narcissists tend to have a complete lack of empathy. Narcissists don't really care about you. It's all about them.
Exactly.
It's all about them.
That second line you just said, they have a lack of empathy. So a lot of folks are throwing around narcissists and don't know exactly what it means.
Right. And not only do they lack empathy, there is this sense of entitlement. And when I say sense of entitlement in a very unhealthy dynamic, right? Narcissists feel like that the world owes them everything.
Exactly.
They feel like the world revolves around them.
Not to cut you off, Nick, but we're 7 minutes after 8. I want to bring you back. I want to bring you back next week, if you will, if you want to come back.
Yes.
Come back. You're welcome to come back, and we could actually we'll add to that topic from this week. We'll add the narcissist to it. So
before y'all go, I want to say just a couple of things about the narcissist question. I think one word, well, maybe 2 words would describe narcissist to me, and that is, I'll say, hurting people. And narcissists are known that they say that they gaslight. And I'm not sure if I say further than gaslight, that they firelight, like they are burning in their pain. They are burning. So they don't pass gas, they pass fire to everybody because they are still blaming people. They are dealing with their own truth by way of lies. Like, these are the people that I've heard a quote, something like, they will destroy your life with a lie because the truth about their life destroys them.
Right.
So they don't want to face that. We've all been there a time or two. We've all been there a time or two, and we will be again if we continue to grow.
Exactly. We need to add this to the conversation for next week. I want to come back next week and still want to speak on the intimacy piece, because we're going to dig a little deeper on that, and we're going to add the narcissism. We're going to let Nick do his spill on the narcissist. So whatever you write up, brother, you're welcome to share it here. So it's all.
And would you add ego to that a little bit?
Yes. An unhealthy sense of ego, but we all have it.
Right. I think they go hand in hand.
They do. But a lot of folks are using narcissists and don't know the true definition.
Yeah. It's. I think sometimes some people use it to take the fire off of them. To not deal with their own truth. Because narcissists sometimes show up in a way to make you show up too. So, and it's easy to say, "Oh, you're a narcissist," but hey, again, turn that mirror back inward.
So I want to acknowledge the folks before we give you guys a chance to do your closing remarks and whatnot. I just want to acknowledge Pat out of Houston. I like to acknowledge Kimberly and Mark. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Mark, thank you so much. You know what it is. I love you, cuz. Shan out of Atlanta. And my man, Slash, what's up? What up, man? Appreciate you for keeping the conversation going through the thread. I really appreciate you, brother. It's all good. We'll go back 40 years, almost 40 years, man. And one of these days, I'm going to get you on here to deal with Tammy personally. You have to deal with her personally.
Who's that?
It's Mark. I'm going to get Mark on here to deal with you on your show personally. I'm going to have to get him on here.
Cool. I'm open to it.
Yo, you open to it? Because you know he calls you Miss Tammy.
You call me Miss Tammy?
He call you Ms. Tammy with a Z. Hey, Nick, brother, you know what it is. I appreciate you, man. And hey, man, I'm proud of you. Actually, Tammy told me that you used to come to the conversation event. So one of the conversations.
Yeah, Nick, you came to Sunset Conversations when we had it at where did we on Germantown Parkway.
Oh yeah.
That's what my luggage got lost. My luggage was lost, right? That's what my luggage. I
can't. Nukes, I think. Was it Nukes?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Sunset Conversation. We were doing those on Sundays, I think.
Yeah, a Greek place. That's when I lost my luggage. Remember that?
Right.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Good stuff. But hey, man, I'm proud of you, man, and I think you're gonna do great things, brother, because you're a very, very intelligent brother, man. I'd love to have you part of the conversation going forward. If there's a home for you here.
Whenever you need me, I'm here.
It's all good, brother. It's all good. And Tammy, you already know what it is with you and I.
You're welcome. Great conversation. And you had some comments. I don't know if you were able to see all of them. And you guys, I apologize because my page is for some reason not connected. So the StreamYard was kind of tripping tonight, but I don't know if you were able to see the messages here.
Yes, I see a few of them. They were going and they're having a conversation among themselves. Okay. But I acknowledged them, and we'll come back and we'll add to the conversation on next Sunday.
Oh, somebody said narcissists trap their victims with sex. Somehow you need to screenshot that so you can get those questions. I don't know if you were able to see those, Nick. Are you?
Now. Oh, I have it written
good.
down.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nick, you can actually screenshot that stuff and we can bring it back next week.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Norman has some good points out there.
Any closing remarks from you guys before I go to close?
None for me. Just be great people. Be your own kind of greatness.
Hey, what a good folks can find you, man, because you spit knowledge, man. See, you're very young, but you're still good now. Where they can find you, brother?
You can find me on IG, Nick Hicks _88. You can find me here on Facebook at Nick Hicks. Really easy name to remember. I love talking, dialoguing. I am a interesting thing. I'm a senior financial analyst. So me being able to talk about these things right here, a lot of people think that I'm in social work, and I just listen. I just have a lot of compassion for the human experiences. I do my own.
Good stuff, brother. Good stuff. And you can always catch Tammy on the Butterfly.
Be on Tuesday.
I'll be on Tuesday as well too.
Good stuff, man. Bluff City Leadership is Tammy with the assessment. Holler at me if you guys want to take a serious assessment. I took the assessment myself, and it done a ton of things for me, ton of great things for me. And that's at bluffcityleadership.com. And Tammy's doing wonderful work over there with her company, Bluff City. Real wonderful work. So you guys need to holler at her or holler at me for the assessment, and I'll get you walked through it.
Life coaching and marriage coaching as well.
There you go. Good stuff. Good stuff. Until next Sunday, we'll see you guys later.
Peace.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction